Yeah. So, around this time of year is when remembering my good friend Sirius. Sirius passed away 8 years ago. He was a very good friend of mine. He was an artist, and we were close. He had cancer, and he passed well before his time. Passed at a very young age. Given everything that's been happening with me recently, with Rambo passing and everything happening with my mom, I haven't had much time to think about him. And there are times where I am guilty of just not thinking about him at all. But, some memories, they pop up, they get in our heads, and here I am thinking of Sirius again. And Sirius was a great friend. Sirius would ask about Rambo. Sirius was just about having a good time. And I look at the way things are now and I think, man, I'd probably be handling things a lot better if Sirius was here. So, I'm just thinking about him and remembering him. Now, every day I'm thinking about Rambo and remembering him. And there will come a time I'll probably do the same for my mom. And what's odd is that with my relationship with my mom is that it was always up and down. She had a lot of anger towards me. She had a lot of bitterness. She had a lot of angst. But at the same time, she had a lot of appreciation, knowing that I was the only person that's there for her. I was told by the PSWs that, the PSWs, she reminds them, hey, I'll get my son. He'll be here in no time. If I call my son, he'll do this for me. Call my son, he'll do that. He's here for me. I always have my son here. And it's interesting because when she talks to me, she makes it seem like I'm completely useless. But it is nice to know that she does tell people that, her son is here for her. Which I am and always have been. I think there was a time I told my mom about Sirius. It might have been a time that I told her about Sirius, and I think she kind of was upset for a second, but in her line of work, she had seen so much death, she was almost numb to it. And it's hard because I just didn't have a lot of people, if anybody, to really turn to about Sirius's death. I wasn't too close with a lot of his friends. Although I knew a lot of them, but it was rough. But I think over time I handled it a lot better. Definitely sad for maybe like 1 or 2 days a year thinking about it, or feeling nostalgic. If people are talking about losing people to cancer, I'll automatically is the first person that jumps in my head, and some stories pop up, and I'll start feeling different. But handling it, and forever missing my friend Sirius, because anybody who knows me knows I just don't have a lot of friends. So it was rough because he was young. I think that was the one that really got to me. It was the fact that he was so young. It was rough because he had children, and that was also rough because it wasn't fair that the children have to go without a father. And there's something about death that just isn't fair, and the younger people are, the worse it is. Sirius was only 30 years old. That's too young. But the disease doesn't know any different. Sirius was one of the good people in my life that was just always a positive influence, always uplifting. I guess in some ways you could say he was like Rambo. I've never had a friend like Sirius, not before, not after. And he befriended me. Sometimes I feel guilty. Sometimes I feel like I'm just, a person that's unworthy. And he was a guy that always made me feel good and, remind me so much about myself that I had forgotten or chosen to avoid. And it helped both of us in our artistry because he was doing great. Around the time that he had passed, he had a song on the radio. And, I had a TV show at the time, and we were doing everything we could. So I miss, rolling in the BMW with him, and he'd smoke the blunts and I'd whip it, and we would chop it up. He was always down to go out, always down to kick it. I just miss my friend Sirius. And Rambo was like that too. He was always down to kick it, always down to roll, always down to get out and be adventurous. Always down to talk and always down to be completely silent. It just really sucks missing these really good beings that have blessed us. Maybe it's selfish for me to say that I wish they were all still around and around forever, but still miss them in the best way possible, I guess.